Okay. Yesterday we have seen just introduction and the advantages, right? And installation part we have seen. So today let's understand what are the different annotations. We discussed TestNG supports rich annotation support. So what are all these annotations? So let's start. First one is a before suit, after suit. So these are the pair. So that means it starts with the suit tag till so method level you can get all the annotations. So what is mean by before suit? So before suit means this annotated method will be run before all the test cases in the suit have run. That means so at that before suit public void before suit method name curly bracket starts and curly bracket end. So write the code here. Whatever the code, the precondition code for suit before what you want to execute, that you can so write in this before suit. Generally, for in our testing point of view, maybe you might need launching the browser, right? Generally, we need so launching the browser, maximizing the window, setting the implicit weight, and so that code you can keep in the before suit. Because suit before you want to execute this piece of code. So that's the before suit method when it will execute. So after suit means, okay, so this annotated method will be run after all the test cases have run in the suit. So nothing is pending, everything is done. Finally, you want to execute. So some code that will be written under after suit annotated block, like, closing the browser. Such kind of things. Finally, you will close the browser, right? You can keep. So in the after suit. So this is the before suit and after suit annotated methods. So there is a before test, after test. So before test, after test. So before test means, so let me, so explain one more concept before understanding this before test. So we need to understand a suit file concept. So what are the, so what is a suit file in TestNG? And so what is the structure of a suit file? So we should understand that. Then you can come back to understand this before test annotation. So let's see this. So TestNG, you go to TestNG documentation. So here you will get this nice documentation. So you selected testng.xml. So this is the testng.xml is the suit file name. Testng.xml is the suit file name. And the structure of a suit file is, it starts with a suit tag. So basically XML is the customized tags. So HTML is a predefined tags. That's the difference between XML and HTML. So HTML is all predefined. You cannot create your custom tags. But in the XML, you can create your own custom tags. So that is what XML means. So the XML here is first a suit tag, then name attribute, and verbose, different attributes you can put it inside the suit tag. Then immediately suit tag after test tag will be there. Test tag after classes tag will be there. So classes tag inside, you can write individual class names with a class tag. Then close the classes tag. So this is the closing tag, right? If the forward slash is there in the angular bracket inside, before the tag name, that is the end tag. So this is the beginning tag, and this is the end tag. And this is the end tag, test tag. So one test tag, inside you have a classes tag. Classes tag inside you have a independent class tag. Then you can write multiple class tags under this. In between this classes tag, you can write multiple class tags. Then test tag ends. Test tag ends. Then test tag, another test tag I'm starting. I'm starting another test tag. So you can start another test tag. Name equal to, so whatever the name you want to test tag name. See here test name, no package, and test tag name equal to regression 1, and classes tag. Classes tag inside, you have a class tag, and again see one more class tag. So this name you have to give package name dot class name. Package name dot class name you have to provide complete path of this class. So then close the classes tag, close the test tag, suit tag, right? See, one suit tag inside, you have multiple test tags, right? This is the one type of suit file. Very simple one is, so like this, suit tag, test tag. Instead of classes, you can put a packages. Packages. Package name equal to test.sample and packages. So packages, okay, so packages. So the packages inside, you can put a package. Instead of classes, you can mention entire package, so that that package inside whatever the classes you have written, all the classes will run. So a TestNG will look at the classes inside the package, and all the classes will run. So this is the simple so a suit file, another suit file. In this place, you can put a classes also. Simple if you want one test tag. If you want, you can put only one with the classes. Okay, with class tag name equal to this test.sample. So this is the suit file, simple. But here you have seen, right, multiple test tags, right? So why I'm telling this one is, this is important for us. Now, before understanding before test annotation. So this test tag inside classes test methods execution before, the before test annotation will execute, right? First suit tag will, before suit will execute. Then if you take a before test, the before test is at test tag level. Test tag before will execute that. So before executing this, test tag inside classes test methods, first before test will execute if you take the before test. So that is what the definition here, you can see that. So @before test method will be run for any test method belonging to the classes inside the test tag is run. That means test tag inside the test methods execution before, first before test will execute. Then it will come inside the test tag classes one by one will execute. A class can have multiple tests. We have seen that. Here also similar, okay? In TestNG also similar. So first this class test methods execution before, the before test will execute. So then all the test tag inside class test methods will execute. Then @after test will execute. @after test means this annotated method will be run after all the test methods belonging to the classes inside the test tag have run. That means, so this test method classes, all the test methods are execution after the after test will execute this annotation. So before means always understand before that test tag. After means after the test methods, test tag inside classes methods are executed, then so after test will execute. So please understand here, before test is test tag level. There is a, why I'm stressing out here is there is one more annotation before method annotation is there. So this is the common interview question. What is the difference between @before test, @before method? This is the test tag level. The other one before method is a method level. So inside the classes you have test method, right? Test method before that, before method will execute. So we already seen before each in the JUnit, but here @before method is the name. So we are using equal to before each in JUnit. So that's the before test and after test. So then we have a before groups. Suppose you have a groups like this. You have a groups like this. Okay. So this groups, before you want to execute something, before executing this group, broken test, check-in test. So these are the group names. These are, okay. These groups before something you want to execute, then we can call this before groups. So this is basically a configuration method. So this will run before list of groups. So any group execution before, this before groups will execute. So this is the method which is going to guarantee to run shortly before the first test method that belongs to the any of these groups is invoked. So that's the before group means. And after groups means after groups, so it will execute. Then after groups means the list of groups that this configuration method will run after all the groups are done. These groups are there, right? Broken test, check-in test. So include tag means the check-in test. So from this class will execute. After that, the after groups will execute. But these are all optional, okay? So not mandatory. Again, so whichever you need, you take them. Before suit, before test, before groups, these are all optional. Even before class, before method, all are optional. So if you need, you can take, not mandatory. So you have to take all the annotations. So, but the hierarchies, you can understand that. So next, before class, before class. See, the meaning itself is telling class before, the current class before. See that. This annotated method will be run before the first test method in the current class is invoked. So in the current class is invoked. So this annotated method will be run before the first test method in the current class is invoked. That's the before class means. So that means current class inside any test method execution before class annotation method will execute. So you can write now. Yesterday we have seen already JUnit test cases. All we have written a browser launching code, and that is also you can do with the class level if you want. No, we have already written suit level. Then, so what is the purpose of this? You can put any class level before anything you want to execute. Each class level before you want to execute something, you can put. So in before suit, if you are keeping browser launching everything, so before class means class level anything if you want to execute. Class before, every class before something you want to execute, you can put such kind of code inside this before class annotation method. Then after class is each class after. So this annotated method will be executed. So after all the test cases in the current class have completed running, and then after class will execute. So the before class to after class. So that is the pair. Then we have a before method. So before method is, so like a before each. So in the JUnit, we have a before each, right? Similar functionality before method also. Even before class is, before class, after class is there before all, right? Before all in JUnit. Now here people are calling @ before class. Both are similar functionalities. Now before method is, this annotated method will be run before each test method. Each test method before, this before method will execute. So that's this annotated method, how it will execute. And after method, this annotated method will be run after each test method. After each test method. So each test method after, the after method will execute. That means the before method will execute each test method before. Then before method after, test method will execute. Test method after method will execute. So that means if you have multiple test methods, the cycle will rotate first before method, test method, after method. If one more test method is there, again cursor will go to this block. And then every time the before method will execute, then it will go to next test method. Then test method after. So this after method will execute. Basically, any setup, right? Something that method level setup, method level precondition code, if you want to execute the common code for every test, that you place inside the before method annotation. And after the test method, you want to something clean up, put that inside after method annotation block. So that is the before method and after method annotation. So, and we have a great data provider, a data provider annotation. So those are all main annotations. See, you got it suit to method level, right? That's this. So you can see method level. Class inside, you can put a methods. So which method you want to execute. So this, from this class, I want to execute only this method. Then you can say include tag. Include tag you have to use. So one particular class inside, you can include the methods, M1 method, M2 method. And so this class ends here, right? See, classes tag started here, then class tag, test1 tag, test1 class, test1 class inside which method you want to execute, M1 and M2. And another class, test2. So then like that, you can write multiple classes with the class tag. Each independent class you can represent with the class tag inside the classes tag. So that's the include tag, means you're including to execute M1 and M2. That's the include means, so it will understand, okay, go and execute from this class M1 method and M2 method only, not other methods. If you don't mention other methods, it won't be considered for execution. If you mention clearly class tag inside, methods tag inside, include tag, if you put, only included tags only will execute from this test1 class. Then close that class. See this class tag, so ending here. Then next class tag will start. So test2 class. Like that, you can put multiple classes under classes tag. So these are all the suit level, right? You have seen the suit, then test. So you can write multiple test tags. Each test tag inside you have a classes tag mandatorily. So again, another test. So this test is different and this test tag is different. So multiple test tags you can create under one suit tag inside. So this one you can write this configuration if you want to run in different browsers. So you can set like this. Each test tag is for one browser. You can put like this. So say your test case want to run in different browsers, then this will help you a lot. So this kind of configuration you have to do. So I'll show you this browser compatibility, how to do, and parallelism, how to do. I'll show you this. So with this suit tag. So that's a lot of features are there in this so TestNG. Okay. So that's the suit file concept. and with a different annotation. So let's move on to the next one. Any doubts till now? Are we good? Okay. If no response, I think you're good. Let's go to the next very important topic, that is @. So data provider annotation. What is mean by this data provider annotation? So data provider annotation is, so it's basically used to store the data and supply for the test method. So marks a method. So this annotated method will store the test data and then supply to a test method. That's a data provider annotation. Means a data provider. That means it provides the data to your test method. So you want to run your test case with multiple sets of data. Then you store that in the data provider and it will be helpful for us. So basically, to do a data-driven testing, you will use a data provider annotation. So same scenario, if you want to test multiple sets of data, then you store that data in the data provider annotation. You can supply to a test method. So that's the data provider annotation means. So the annotated method must return an object two-dimensional array where each object can be assigned the parameter of the test method. So how many parameters are there in the test method? Those you can assign here object two-dimensional array. So I already explained in Java about two-dimensional array. So two-dimensional array is going to have rows and columns, right? Basically. So the same way you can create a object two-dimensional array. This annotated method will return for us. The return type of data provider annotation is object two-dimensional array. So now once you store the data in the data provider, then which test method you want to supply this data? So that you need to mention @test method level. @test method that wants to receive the data from this data provider needs to use a data provider keyword. So data provider name. So you can give some name for the data provider. That name equals to the name of this annotation. So let's see this. A public class data provider demo. So @data provider annotation, you can give some name. So name of the data provider. If you don't give this name, you have to give a data provider method. Some method name you will give, right, for the data provider annotation. Every annotation has a method name, a Java method. So this method name, you can map it to a test method so that it will understand, okay, this data provider inside the data is there, that data, so the test method will take. So some reference you have to give, right? Otherwise, how do your test method will understand? So either you have to give this name, or if you don't provide this name, you can give this method name for the test method. So I'll show you how to represent that, how to map data provider and @test method. Okay. So public, see the return type. So what is the return type of data provider annotation? That's the interview question also. So the answer you have to give object two-dimensional array. That's a return type of data provider annotation. And method name. So you can create object two-dimensional array data equal to new object, rows and columns. Rows will tells you how many number of times the test has to be executed. How many times the test has to be repeated. That count is the rows count. The columns count you can get from the test method. You have parameters, right? The parameters count is the columns count here. So you have to look how many parameters you have in the test method. That parameters count is the columns count here. So that is the, so this two-dimensional object array you create. And then, so suppose I'm taking one simple example, object two-dimensional array. So data equal to new object. So 3 rows and 2 columns. That means 3 times the test method will repeat for these 2 parameters. What are the 2 parameters? Just a simple example I'm saying for login. So login, you have 2 parameters only, right? So username, password. So that's the 2 parameters. These 2 parameters you must define in the test annotation. So I'll show you that. So first row, so the data 0, 0 equal to username 1. Data 0, 1, password 1. So second row, data 1, 0, username 2. Data 1, 1, password 2. So that's this first row and second row. Third row, so data, the third row, first column, username 3. Third row, second column, password 3. So return data. So return data. So that's the curly brackets. So you need to set this annotation. Then how do you map for the test method? This is how to map. @test. So data provider keyword, you have to use parameter. So @test data provider equal to data provider name or data provider method name. So that's right. So I mentioned data provider name. If you don't mention this part, this method name, you give it here. So this method name, you can give it here. So that this test method understands, okay, it has to go and pick the username value, password value from here. So automatic iteration, you don't need to write even loops also. So first, this username value will come here, password value will come here, then you can put it inside this here. So that's the username, password, how to set. Okay, so how it maps. So once this first username, password is over, whatever the logic you have written here, all the logic will execute. Then it will go again, take the second username and second password. And with that data, all the steps inside the test method will execute. Then that is over. Then again, third set of data. So it will repeat for all the sets of data. So that will take from the data provider. So that's how your data-driven testing can be done with a data provider. So that wherever you need, you are testing some scenario with multiple sets of data, right? So with multiple sets of data, always use a data provider annotation, store that data in this. So, okay. And this is the return type. I told, right, return type methods. You should know how to create a return type methods. If you don't know, go and refer our methods topic. So there I explained very clearly methods, different type of methods, how to create. Okay. So that is how this data provider annotation, how it works. Okay. So any doubts here? So is it clear why data provider you need, how to map, how to store the data in the data provider annotation, how to map to a particular test method? Okay. So you have multiple test method in the class, but which test method you want to supply this data? So that mapping must be done here. @test data, so all lowercase, provider P capital. So this parameter is very important. The mapping between data provider annotation and @test annotation. So this test method will go and pick these parameter values from the data provider annotation. So that's how to do a data-driven testing in Selenium using TestNG annotation. So the question also they will ask, how can you do data-driven testing? So in Selenium, you need to answer using data provider annotation. So next step, first tell using data provider annotation, first statement. Second step, so in the data provider annotation, so we'll store our data. So then that's a return type of two-dimensional object array. So that I will supply to any test method @test. So data provider equal to data provider method name. So then all the parameters values you will get from the data provider annotation. That's how you need to explain. So that they'll get an impression. Okay, so you have a better idea on that. So can we write multiple data providers? Of course, you can write multiple data provider annotation also. Each data provider annotation you can supply to particular test method. Okay, so that's the data provider annotation. Let's come back and we'll discuss about @parameters annotation. What is that? Okay. Any questions?